Welcome to an impromptu, off the cuff, uncensored, unfiltered live airing of the show Spoilers. For those of you that have been keeping track, this is a good time to tell me which episode this is because I do not know which. But this weekend in particular, I have watched a lot of movies. I had a little list of movies that I've been putting off for the last few months, and I've been trying to watch all of them in this short span of time that I have while neglecting my family, health, and basically everything else. So I have a lot of reviews, so we're going to get started. The first review, I brought a prop with me today. I'm using the selfie stick. Look at that. Okay, there's symbolism behind this giant, awesome knife. All of the movies that I reviewed or will be reviewing have something to do with this knife. The first movie that I saw was Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou by Wes Anderson. Excellent film. I gave it a 10 out of 10. It is classic Wes Anderson, like you've never seen him before. This movie is very old. It was made in 2004, I believe. It's about a guy who's on a boat, and he's with Owen Wilson, who, spoilers, is his son, but there's a secret twist halfway through. It may not be his son, but you never know. A whole lot of comedy. I was laughing. Jeff Goldblum is great. There's just a lot about it that was really good. Uh, just go see it. There's a lot of Wes Anderson movies out there. I know right now everyone's really big on Grand Budapest Hotel. A great movie, but right now I think it's time to watch Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. If not, don't take what I did. No, maybe. Who knows? The next movie I watched was Troy with Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt was a stud. Eric Bana was a stud. Orlando Bloom was a stud. Spoilers, he's Legolas. And in the movie, he does some Legolas shooting with a bow, and he does the exact same thing. He does this thing with his head. And there's some good-looking girls in there, too. Don't know their names. I thought Angelina Jolie was in this one, but she's actually in the next movie I'm about to review. But Troy was a great movie. It's a great story. I studied that in high school. I'm sure a lot of you did too, and I forgot all about it. So at the end, when he gets his ankle pierced, oops, and they bring in the Trojan horse, and I did not see that coming, but I should have, but I didn't. And it was good. I gave that one an 8 out of 10. In the very beginning, he's fighting this big guy, and they're like, oh, bring your best warrior. We'll bring our best warrior, and whoever wins gets to be the king. And so they bring this big hunk, and he's like, rah, rah, and then they're like, ooh, Achilles, and he doesn't answer, and they're like, where is he? And it zooms to him in bed with a bunch of women. You're like, classic Brad Pitt. And then he comes in and he just does this move where he goes, whoosh, like literally with a sword, just like this, right into the neck. Whoosh, and the guy just falls down dead. And he says, "Is there anybody else?" And this one guy's like, "I'll do it." And he's like, whoosh, cuts his head off. And another guy, "Is there anybody else?" And another guy's like, "Yeah, fuck, excuse me." He goes, "I'll do it." Whoosh, cuts his head off. Then the king's like, "I don't want to give away my throne. I'll fight you." Whoosh, cuts his head off. Just kidding. None of that happened. There was just the one guy. But it was a good movie. It was a great tale about power and how it can corrupt a person. And power is basically, it's unnecessary. There was one of the kings was a great ruler, and he had power, but he used it wisely. And Orlando Bloom, he lives at the end. And the Hulk dies. Eric Bana is killed by Achilles in a very cool way. He says this is the best fight I've ever had. The next movie is Alexander. Alexander. It is a movie starring Colin Farrell, and it also stars Jared Leto, those were the two reasons that I was gonna take a little off the top. Those were the two reasons that I was watching them. Oh, and Angelina Jolie was in there as well. And she was the other reason why. Hold on, I'm going to switch hands. My thing's hurting. Oh, wow. Oh, hold on. There we go. Okay. And so, um, it was basically a story about Alexander, and he, as you guys know, is the ruler of Macedonia. He's from Macedonia, and he basically takes over all of the known world. And he was a really good guy. He was actually I need to get my own place. He's a good guy. He does not know how to preserve a legacy, I think is the correct word. Everyone tells him he needs to take a wife. He takes a wife, but doesn't have a child with them, and then he falls in love. He's, I guess, in love with Jared Leto, but who isn't in love with Jared Leto? It's Jared Leto. And then he's also in love with some other guy who is like a maid or something like that. And then I guess he takes two more wives by the end of it. So at that point, you're like, dude, come on, like you've got, and his best bud Jared Leto died. Spoilers. He dies at the end, and he's like, he thinks his wife did it, and so he goes and tries to kill his wife, and he keeps getting flashbacks from his mom, and she's like a snake lady, and thinks that he is the gods, and his dad was Val Kilmer from MacGruber, but he only has one eye. Whoosh, right along this one, and but that was it. Both of those movies in total, God, they in total were 6 hours and 45 minutes for both of those. I felt like I was watching a TV show. I had to take breaks, a couple of pee breaks, potty breaks, but now I just got back from the movie theater and saw Furious 7, which is the big one, I guess, that everyone's talking. Paul Walker, I guess, he's dead. Rest in peace. It's not really a spoiler. You guys should know that. And on Easter's Eve, rest in peace, Paul Walker. The movie was not great. Paul Walker did a great job. They had a nice little thing at the end about him through all of the movies. There's just a lot of cheese in that movie. And I know I've been razzed on before for the cheese of the movies that I watch, but this movie really had a lot of cheese. So much so that, spoilers, I was texting in the movie, and I was not paying attention, and this was towards the end because it was a long movie, and by the end I was like, this movie should have been an hour and 45 minutes. It was an action scene that took a little too long, and there's this scene, I don't know how it led up to it, but The Rock had a machine gun, and the girl's like, did you bring the cavalry? And I looked up from my phone and I said, I am the cavalry. And he goes, woman, I am the cavalry. And I said, nailed it. I got it. I could have done that. Rock gave a great performance. Vin Diesel was good with his one-liners. Paul Walker had some great one-liners. Is it America Ferrera? Is that who? I don't know who the name of the girl is, but she had some great one-liners. She forgot her memory. I don't know how. She didn't remember anything. And then at the end, she's like, Vin Diesel, why didn't you tell me we were married? And he's like, oh, you can't tell someone you're in love. Something like that. But it does a flashback to their marriage, and they're literally getting married, and he's in a white wife beater. That's his wedding outfit. Like, I get the whole, like, I don't want to be in a tuxedo, but she was, like, in a dress. And even more embarrassing, the priest is like, do you have the ring? And he's like, nope, I don't have the ring. So he grabs his necklace and gives her his necklace. And she's like, forever and ever, baby. And I'm like, yikes. And Jason Statham was in it, and he said, like, 3 things. And there's just a lot of scenes where this movie could have ended a lot sooner, but it didn't. And, you know, it paid the price. And the price was $10. It was worth it. I got to ask them I said, can I have a cup for water? And they said yes. And then I got raspberry water from the the Coke fountain. Like, it dispenses all kinds of drinks. And I was going to get a Slurpee from another free cup, but my brother would not allow that, and he made me carry the popcorn and didn't really share. So you can see why I was sour during this entire movie. What else was... I tried remembering. I was like, Alex, keep an eye out, because there's a lot of stuff in this movie that you can spoof on it. There's just, like... There was a lot of cheese. I felt like I was in a cheese deli. So those were the 4 movies I've seen so far, and I'm actually in the middle of a 5th. Excuse me. God Nope. Look. What do we have here? Guess that movie. That's the new scene is called Guess That Movie, and I'll give you a hint. That's Nicole Kidman. She's wearing glasses. She's in the outback, and she's with one of my favorite actors, Hugh Jackman. It's Australia, mate. And so you may be wondering, Alex, why are you holding this knife? Well, in Steve Zissou, there's got to have been a scene with a knife. Actually, there was. They're like hacking through some stuff, and he's like covering leeches, and he goes, "No one else is covering leeches." And it was, oh yeah, he just classic West Anderson. He said something like, he's like, "Hey everyone, check for leeches," and they're like, "We don't have any." He's like, "Am I the only one that got leeches? What's the deal?" And that was it. It was just a cool line. Alexander and Troy, they both had knives just like this, and they really did a number on bad guys. And this movie, Australia, there's gonna be a secret scene where they're hacking through the brush to get to a campsite or something because they're in the wilds of Australia. So I haven't seen this movie, but I'm really pumped about it. It looks really good. I'm probably gonna give it an 8 or a 9 just because. Uh, I mean, you saw Nicole Kidman's face. She's award winning. Hugh Jackman, anything he touches is gold. And I've actually seen two people so far in this movie that are from Kangaroo Jack. And then I've also seen someone in this movie who's from Van Helsing, which are two of my favorite movies. And if you're going to put them into a combo can for this movie, sign me up for a 10 star. I can't really think about anything else that's going on right now, and I know that's usually how I end these segments is babbling on about what I'm doing with my life. But I've been watching a lot of movies. Everyone get pumped next week for Daredevil is coming out on Friday. Try not to binge it and ruin it. I know I will, but I'm gonna enjoy Australia. So from all of us here at Spoilers, g'day mate.